Hello again, and at length I have decided to show you how to cast off the Dassenplank, finally. If you remember, we started off with this very dark red colored yarn, and I've added in several different colors since then, and all I've done is knit them through, and then when I get to the end of the one ball, I just tie the start of another ball onto it and just keep knitting. If you want a perfectly even line across the center, you can cut the end of the yarn before you have to wind it back in to the end, but I don't really care, so I have kind of a more rustic uh, blend of colors. So here you go. Now I'm on my last ball of yarn, and there's not enough left to do another course, so it's time to cast off. So I'm going to finish up winding them around. Oops. And then around the last pin. And I'm going to just toss this end away for a second. And I'm going to lock this last stitch into place by grabbing the yarn from below. Of course, I'm trying to do this quickly, and it's not working. So there you go. So there you go. Now the last string is not able to move anymore. So now I'm going to start flipping the bottom row over the top. Ugh, I'm just having such a hard time today. Of course, when I want to do it, it doesn't work, but So I'm flipping them over, bottom over the top. It goes pretty quickly once you get the rhythm of it, and you kind of know where to look with your crochet hook. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's kind of challenging. It just depends on the yarn. And every once in a while, I'll end up grabbing the loop from this other side between the two of them. So I just make sure that I drop it before I lift the first a lower stitch over the top stitch, if that makes sense. So let me finish up this side real quick, and we'll jump to the next side. Whoops. Incidentally, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this panel. I only bought, let's see now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 balls of yarn, and I just made a full-sized piece that basically went from one end of the loom to the other. So if I'd gone with something shorter along the way, I could have made like a scarf and something more useful. But right now I just have a rectangle of um, knitted material that I have no idea what I'm going to do with. Maybe a tote. If you guys have any suggestions, post them as comments. That would be cool. So I'm flipping my loom over, and I'm now doing the other side. I got some really cute yarn to do a little scarf with, and what I thought would be neat would be to do a tutorial on some of the different stitch options that you have on a knitting loom. So I think that's going to be my next tutorial is basically going to be um, using that yarn. I'm going to just show anyone who's interested in using a knitting loom or a Dassenplank the variety of things that you can do stitch-wise, and show you how to increase and reduce stitches and so on. Some of these things I actually have to learn myself before I can teach them, but because I haven't really used it for anything more than just simple things like scarves and blankets. So this is a learning process for me, just as much as it would be a learning process for anybody watching this video. So, getting close to the end. Woohoo! And you can see how fast that is, and see how quickly you can, you know, truck right through a ball of yarn, a ball of yarn. So, there you go. And also, if anybody has any suggestions for scenes for my office specials, post a comment. Let me know. I'm always interested in having suggestions. Sometimes it's nice to have people tell me what they want to see. So as you can see, there's only one row now of loops on the top. Every once in a while I'll skip one, so I always check, because you don't want to miss a stitch. If you do, you can kind of track back and get it back integrated where it's supposed to be. But you just want to make sure that you only have one row, and then you do the thumb thing. If you're going to continue knitting, but it probably wasn't the brightest idea because I'm not going to continue knitting. I'm now going to cast off. So this is kind of a detailed thing, so I'm going to put this down here so you can see it. Hopefully the picture will be okay. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up this loop right here, and I'm going to pull it off the peg. I'm going to put my crochet hook through it, so I'm holding this loop. And then I'm going to take the next loop. I'm going to pick it up. They're both on my crochet hook. And I'm going to pull the first one through the second. There you go. Make sense? So now, go back to the other side. And I'm going to pick up the next thing. I'm going to put my crochet hook through this one. I'm going to pick, it's a little hard because you get tight, because you're pulling from across the loom. And I'm going to pull this one through there. Okay? Now we're going back to this side, and I'm pulling this off. And I'm going to pull this one through. So it's making sense. It's almost like a sewing stitch. Back to this side. Pull this off. Oops, I almost dropped it. And then they're both on the same thing. Oops, sorry. Didn't realize it was wandering away from the camera. Holding this one, pulling it through. So you just keep going back and forth on your Dassenplank. You lift up another stitch, you catch it on your hook, and then you pull it through the last stitch. And I'm going to keep doing that for just a moment. Okay, so now I'm on the last few stitches, so I'm going to pull them off. And I'm going to pull through, pull it off. I actually dropped one earlier, that wasn't very fun. Okay, pull it through, especially with this yarn because it doesn't really, it has kind of an uneven little nap on it, and it was kind of hard to find where the loop is because actually the bulk of the yarn is really not very much. It's just like a thread covered in like a chenille. So we're on the last stitch. How exciting. Okay. And then this last one, pull it off, pull it through, and here's your little friend, the end of the yarn. You're just gonna loop it around your hook and pull it through the last stitch. Whoops. I dropped it. Bear with me. Yeah, I'm gonna try that again. Uh-oh. Oh, Houston, we almost had a problem. Yeah, this yarn. Okay, hopefully this is it. So I'm going to try that again. I'm going to take this thing and wind it around, and we're going to pull it through the last stitch. Okay, and then pull it all the way through. Okay, now what you're going to do is create a loop. So you pull it part way through, and you're going to pull the end through it, so you're basically tying a knot on your last stitch. And there it is. And you can do another one if you really want to be secure. So what you do is you reach in with your crochet hook, grab your end, hook it in, pull it through. Oh look, it's a loop. Put your end through it and tie a knot. And that's it. So I yanked off the rest of the yarn, but as you can see, it is coming free. And the Dassenplank, there you go. It's off the Dassenplank, and you have a nice little square, a nice little whatever it is that you're making. And in my case, I have no idea what I'm making, but there you go. So we have cast off. If you have any questions, you can comment. I will try to answer them, and hopefully I've been succinct. Now the next step would be to dampen it and block it. So into whatever it's supposed to be. I hope that was helpful to you. Thank you, and adios from the Hungarian chick.